Hi, it's Rogue, and I've tried to record these videos so many times. The problem is that every time I just, go on a tangent and whatever I wanted to say in the beginning just gets lost. So this video is going to be about the MMR changes that have been recently implemented in Dead by Daylight. But I feel that so many content creators explain them, like explain exactly what happened way better than I could. What I want to actually talk about, what I want to react to today is the hysteria that has taken over content creators the second they saw that their games were getting harder. That is something that really struck me like a lightning, and I was like, no, this needs to be talked about. Like, what am I witnessing? So, one thing that I've always noticed about killer players is that it's like I'm a killer main myself. So, it's like we kind of think we are expected to win most of the time. Mm, we don't strive for balance. If as survivor I go on a 50-50 win loss one night, I'm like, yeah, I had a pretty good game. If that happens as killer, I'm gonna gouge my ass out. Like, what the fuck is happening? Am I getting worse? We as killers are expected, we expect from ourselves winning the vast majority of our games. Like, if I sit one day playing, I don't know, like 20 games and I don't win at least 16 or 17 of them, I'm gonna think that today's not my day. Then I don't care about it very much. Like, I'm not the kind of person to which this lingers on. But anyway, I do perceive it that way. And where does this expectation come from? Why do we expect that? The kill rate is supposed to be, as stated by behavior, 60%. This including, all MMR, all killers, which means that on average, if you're playing for a while a killer that you know very well, and then after 1 hour you switch to a new killer, and then you play a killer that you don't really like but you have a daily, your average win rate should be 60%. And it's 60% only because since the survivors are four, it's more easy, it's more common for one of these four people, just by sheer numbers, to have a problem, to have their controller disconnect, to run out of battery, a power outage. They have to go because their cat is puking all over the floor. While you as killer are just one, so it's more unlikely for you for this to happen to you. But if this wasn't taken into account, behavior aims for a 50-50, win rate on both sides. Now, why do we have this expectation as killer player? Why do we think that, yes, we are expected to win the vast majority of our games? And in my opinion, one of the reasons is that the streamers that we watch, that are all very good and experienced at the game, think of Zarva, think Hans, Scott John, I don't know who you like, but whoever you like, even if they're playing a low tier killer, they probably have like over 5,000 hours on the killer, on killer, at least, maybe specifically on some precise killer that they really enjoy, that they main and that they play all the time. And of course, they're going to win the vast majority of their game, even if they are high MMR, because of course, if someone wins the vast majority of their games, they're going to be high MMR. Even if they're high MMR, they're going to win all of these games because they're super experienced. They know every detail about this killer. They have played, with the same rig for a very long time. They're super comfortable in what they're doing, and they effortlessly read chat while they do that. And matchmaking does not divide super good players from average players. This is the main culprit, okay? They are super experienced, but they are not going against people that are as experienced and good as them for the vast majority of their matches. You will notice if you play killer that if you have around maybe 200 hours and you are quite decent at your killer, you're going to go against players that have 5,000 hours, 6,000 hours. It has happened to me when I started playing the game, and I was very frustrated because I couldn't understand what I was doing wrong, what I had to change. But then, of course, I learned everyone usually has one or two mains, so it's pretty easy to invest those hundreds of hours on that specific main and become very good at them. And even if your main is not particularly strong, like in my case it's Legion, you know the killer so well, you know the perks you use so well. You have such good game sense specific to that killer that you're gonna win way more games than a person that just picked up the killer would, right? But when you start winning some games, as I told you, you have around 200 hours, well, you're just catapulted into the world of the people that are so much better or so much sweatier than you. And this is the same effect, but opposite side when you have 10,000 hours in the game. If Odds plays a killer that he knows very well, he's gonna probably dominate every lobby because on average, the person that he's gonna face is not gonna have as much experience as him, right? And how do we put this into our daily experience? How do we factor this? Well, we watch odds and we see that if he plays a certain killer that is very strong with, and how do we factor this? We see that if someone is playing seriously, which odds usually doesn't do, so probably wrong example, but you know what I mean, they win the vast majority of their games, even if they switch killers. And so we're like, well, I am also expected to win the vast majority of my games, even if the person is very clear about the fact that they have so many more hours than their usual opponent. Maybe they face someone that has 5,000 hours, but they still have double that. So, of course, they're more experienced. Of course, they're better at the game. And of course, it's easier for them to put all of this in practice and win the vast majority of their games. Again, while you, with your 500, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 hours, you lack thousands and thousands of hours of experience in general on killer and on that specific killer maybe that you're playing. In order to do the same thing. You will get there in time, but by watching these people going on incredible win streaks, you are setting wrong expectations for yourself. So, what did change and why did so many streamers panic and say, oh my god, my games have become so sweaty? Behavior raised the soft cap, which meant that the average player that was maybe around the soft cap, we're going to call that the average player, is not the average player anymore. They're a little bit below the soft cap now. So it's easier for them to be paired with opponents that are easier to face, less sweaty, that bring items that are not as strong or perks that are not as strong or just, going for 12 hooks or whatever. And this has had streamers freaked out because they were, of course, used to being super chill and just dominate all their games without putting any effort into it, basically. And now they're facing people that are either super prepared, have super strong items, or are really, really good at the game. And now they are struggling to obtain the same results. Is this bad? No, it is not bad. I hope the games stay hard. I hope strong killer players, people that, again, have been dominating all of their games with no problem and can only actually have a challenge if they handicap themselves in some way. I hope these people can have harder matches and that anyone tuning in can be like, oh, look, playing normally, even this 15,000 hour streamer has hard games. It is incredible how much it did for me to see my favorite streamers lose. To see my favorite streamer having a rough time or just playing a little bit less sweaty or just, minding chat a little bit too much and answering to someone losing the game. It has made me so much more comfortable with my own losses. And it's one of the reasons why I don't have anxiety playing killer anymore. Also, what is really important and also something that made me laugh a little was seeing people being like, oh, but I don't want to sweat. Then don't sweat. You don't have to. You can lose game. You can, your wife is not going to leave you. Your parents are not going to disown you because you have lost some games of Dead by Daylight, because your win rate dropped from 80% of your games to 60 or 50 or 40, and your viewers are not going to go somewhere else. You're simply facing better opponents. And this is your chance to maybe not sweat and overall provide funnier games for you in the long run, because maybe your MMR is going to get lowered a little and you are again going to get paired against people that bring a certain variety of perks instead of seeing made for this that are for the people buckle up every fucking game. Just an advice from someone that probably has some year over every streamer of Dead by Daylight, and knows how much enjoyment is important over winning. But of course, you do you. Now, the people that want to sweat, they will just keep sweating. If your habit as survivor was bringing the most meta perk and 4 syringes, you will not stop doing that, and you will keep gaining MMR. And then these people, are gonna cry because they only face Blind Nurse and Blind and Nurse and Spirit and Blind and Nurse and Wesker and Blind and Nurse and Spirit. And what did you expect? If you hard sweat in a game, you would be paired with the hard sweats. That's just how it works. And luckily, that's just how it works. What was unfair up until now was that this kind of people were being paired with someone that would bring perks like mine and just play, for the laughs with their friends, bringing a brown toolbox for the memes. So overall, a very good change, in my opinion, and maybe a nice occasion for people to sweat a little bit less, enjoy the game a little bit more. Because one of the things I'm absolutely tired of hearing is people complaining that they're fed up with the game and blah blah blah. And just take a break. If you're fed up with the fucking game, take a break. Go play something else. After the anniversary, after I got Legion to P100. I couldn't stand looking at the game anymore. I played it so much. I was about to fucking cry. So what did I do? I didn't play it. Guess what? I was like, okay, I'm just gonna play something else. I'm gonna go visit my parents. I'm gonna, I don't know, do something else. Just not play the game. You can play something else. There are other video games in the world. Like I assure you, they have made other video games. Some are very nice. And if Matthew Code advised to play Civilization 5, I have other classics that in my opinion are great. For example, Baldur's Gate, that's a great game. So if you don't want to take his advice, maybe take mine, play something else, for fuck's sake, spare the community of your crying. And yeah, this is my rant. And hope you guys have good games, less sweaty games. And I hope you stop sweating if you did it before. If you want to sweat, there's comp. That's a great place to sweat. And I'm sure your skills will be rewarded there.